Hey, good night, everyone.
Good evening. Glad you could join us.
Thank you for having us.
So we'll probably have people kind of trickling in, but just a little recap of what we're doing here. We've decided that every week we want to hold a spaces with one of the different circular Bitcoin economies that's kind of springing up around the world, and just have a time to be able to highlight the cool things that are happening, the things that are a little bit unique, the ways that people in the Bitcoin space can support them or possibly participate in what's going on there. And we really believe that it's the circular Bitcoin economies that are going to Bitcoinize the world. And so we want to make sure that everybody knows where they are near them and that they can be a part of them. So I'm not sure who wants to start us off here tonight. If James or Evelyn or who would like to kind of share. It'd be nice to first get a recap from the conference that was recently held, and you can talk, kind of about that. You guys' learning experience from that, how you felt that went, and then talk a little bit more about the origins of the Berlin project and the what's happening there now, the number of stores you guys have on board, and I'll throw some more questions in along the way. But first, I'd love for somebody to give a recap about the conference. I see Jethro in
Great,
here,
thank you.
so
I've just invited Jethro.
yeah, I just invited him
Yeah,
also. Um,
I think he'd be the best person to recap the conference.
okay.
I'm not sure if Charlie, I don't see Charlie's here, but he will possibly be at the meeting.
So what's the meeting for tonight? Is something a cleanup in the community?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll let you go, Evelyn.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Yeah, the meeting tonight is, I'm not sure if you remembered that back when we first started, we were having like cleaning campaigns every week on Wednesdays. So now we are taking that to the next level. And we are having meeting with all a lot of the important people from Berlin who has a lot of influence in town to take it to the next level and be able to do these campaigns through all the city and start like a recycling program as well. So that's what
Awesome.
meeting is about.
Perfect. Do you? I know one of the things we did in El Zonte, there was a big issue with there not being enough, trash cans or places for people to put their trash. So we created 40 different Bitcoin themed trash cans to kind of put around the town. I don't know if you guys have looked at anything like that.
Yeah, so we have been exploring some ideas on the best way
We've
to
definitely
approach
noticed your ones.
this initiative. And yes, so we are planning on putting some trash bins. Um, so we are going to start small and see how it goes. We want to first educate the community, and once we have move forward, we are going to start putting more trash bins around the city. So what we want to make sure is that people is aware on how to recycle, the best way to do it, and that they get accustomed to put the trash where it should be.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it looks like we got Jethro here up on stage. So Jethro, would love to have you just give a recap of the conference, the highlights for you, and yeah, what you're excited about going forward.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I actually wasn't planning to speak. I was just planning to listen, but sure, I'll do a quick recap. So the conference was on April 8th, right at the end of Bitcoin Week. And yeah, it was a great turnout. Thank you to the Bitcoin Beach team for showing up to support. I see Darvin down in the listeners. He was a speaker as well. Yeah, it was a great turnout. 223 total attendees, over 120 local Berlin SS, and yeah, it's all possible. It was a celebration of circular economies and showing the toolkit that's worked here in Berlin I'll hand it back over to Evelyn and Nikki and James, and James. It was only possible because of the team that's built such an incredible circular economy here. Over 100 local merchants orange pilled in just a year. The community here is incredible. Just the weekly meetings, really staying in touch with the merchants, supporting them. I'm very optimistic about everything here and hope people enjoyed the conference.
Awesome. So Evelyn, I would love to have you kind of give a recap to people how the Berlin project was started, what kind of inspired it, the role that you played, and then we'll go on and talk to James about kind of their experiences participating in it.
Cool. Yeah, so basically, Gerardo and me, we were given Bitcoin education throughout the country. So, and as soon as the Bitcoin law was set and it became a legal tender, we tried to get involved or wanted to get involved in Bitcoin initiatives. So that's how we started to give classes around the country. And we realized that there was not much adoption. There were not many places where we could go and spend sats. So we just had the idea on replicating what was done in El Sonte. So that was the inspiration basically for us to try to build Bitcoin City. And because there was Bitcoin Beach, so we didn't have a Bitcoin City. And we were looking for places as we were traveling across the country. And that's how we got to Berlin. And as soon as we started to talk to people, we realized about the potential that the city had. So it's not too big, not too small. It is a touristic place. People, it's really nice. They were really open. This is a touristic place, but opposite to Alegria, which is a nearby town, like 10 minutes away, Berlin didn't have that many tourism coming to the city. And they were looking for ways to attract tourism to the city. So we wanted to push on that way and started to talk to the businesses that there were no other places aside of El Sonte that were accepting Bitcoin, and that one of the huge attractions for tourism at the moment. So they started to ask questions, started to get interested, and that's how we started. We started onboarding some of the local businesses, and then more people started to get involved, more local Berliners. They felt interested in the project because we were not talking just about Bitcoin. So we really wanted to make justice to what Bitcoin is. And Bitcoin will not only change your financial situation, but it will change overall your life. So all that it's around you, it will change because of Bitcoin. And that's how we got involved in trying to clean the city and some other initiatives to make people feel proud about the city and being proud of being from Berlin. And so, yeah, that's how basically we started. And then expats started to come. Salva was the first one that came. Then Charlie, who goes by the Natural Investment in Twitter. Then Nikki and James. And that's how the group, it's big now. So we have a lot of great people as part of our team.
So I'm curious. I know you're not from Berlin originally, and so a lot of times, even though you're Salvadoran, that people probably, I'm assuming at first, considered you an outsider, and you're coming in, telling them about this magic internet money that they can start using. Were people suspicious, or were they had already heard a lot about Bitcoin because the country had adopted, and so they were happy there was somebody there to educate them, or kind of some of both? Or what was your initial experience from the people?
Well, so as a Salvadorian, so I'm not from Berlin. So we were living, Gerardo and I were living in San Salvador. And then for a couple of months, we were traveling to the eastern side of the country. Then we moved to San Miguel for 4 months because we were going to start providing education in the eastern side. And then after that, we as soon as we started the project, so we moved like 4 months later, as we were in the project, we moved to Berlin. And people were friendly as soon as we were not talking about Bitcoin. But when we started to talk about Bitcoin, they felt like hesitant. They didn't trust on Bitcoin because past experiences when Bitcoin was implemented in the country, it was a really great idea, and I think that we all agreed on that. But there was not much information or education available. And a lot of people got scammed, they lost their accounts because we were given a wallet, and a lot of people they got their identity stolen. So that was their interaction with Bitcoin.
And you're talking
A lot of
about the Chivo wallet, where they
yes,
did
yes,
basically like an airdrop to everybody of $30 worth of Bitcoin, and
yeah,
which had
correct.
lots of problems.
Yeah, so we were given those $30 with the Chivo wallet that you had to claim with your DUI, which is the ID in El Salvador. And so this is a total KYC wallet, and a lot of people they got stolen their identities. And a lot of people, what they did was they not even had any experience like making transactions with the wallet, but what they did was to withdraw the money from the ATMs. And that's the experience that most of the Salvadorians had. And so we had to start from zero and explaining to people that Bitcoin was not money from the government, because that's one of the most common comments that we got. It was that Bitcoin was invented by the president, Bukele, that Bitcoin was the same as Chivo wallet. So we had to educate them on that Bitcoin was not created by Nayib Bukele, that Chivo wallet was only a wallet, and that Bitcoin was something different. And but as soon as people got the chance and they had the opportunity to interact with Bitcoin using different wallets, they started to realize that this was just another form of money, and that they actually had a lot of benefits by using Bitcoin. So I think that from how it was in the beginning to today in Berlin, it's really common that people talks about Bitcoin just because it's not something strange for them anymore. Because in the beginning they were saying, so Bitcoin still exists, like if it was just something for a moment, but now like everybody knows about Bitcoin, even though if they don't use it.
And how many businesses, local businesses and stores do you guys have that are using Bitcoin there? And if you have any particular stories of businesses using it you think that are interesting, we'd love for you to share that.
Yeah, so we have over 100 businesses. To be honest, I don't recall the exact name. I think that James will be able to help me with that because he has been great adding businesses to BTC Map. So he's also always pushing, let's add it to the map, because sometimes we forget to add the businesses. That's why we don't have like an accurate number, but we have most of those businesses in the maps. And from my experience, and I would like to also have James to share, because I know that he has as well some good stories. One of the particulars that I remember, it's one of the ladies that she sells in the park, and she was really, really reluctant to accept Bitcoin. We went to that place like a lot of times, and after a while, she decided to give it a chance, and she has been great with communicating with other vendors, her experience with Bitcoin. She says that before she started accepting Bitcoin, she never had the chance to save. And she, very proud, raises her phone and says, now I am able to save money. And I think that that's really awesome to see the turn up, because you have the memory of that person telling you no, 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 and listening to her saying, I am saving in Bitcoin. And maybe James would like to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, do you have any particular stories that you find memorable that you want to tell us about?
Oh, gosh, I've just been blown away. Honestly, I think Evelyn and Gerardo did a huge amount of groundwork to get the community on board, and not through Bitcoin, but through community action, which just so happened to be backed by Bitcoin. So we've we've been privileged enough to be able to be part of this and build relationships with some of these business owners who are just really blowing our mind. Nikki and I are so impressed with some of them. There's Cafe 303. I believe they're one of the really early businesses to come on board. The family, they have been super supportive. They come to a lot of the meetings. They're adjusting their menu based on requests from people coming, and things like that. They've been early adopters of the technology. We have them on a point of sale. That's just been amazing, and that's a really easy cherry for me to pick. Some of the other ones, which are a bit more challenging, and I have to say it's a lot of work as well. For example, one of the guys came in today and he said that one of the local businesses was pushing back on accepting Bitcoin. And thankfully, we've got a really strong network. I messaged Charlie. Charlie, this business having troubles. It's been the second or third time that they've had problems. And he goes down there. He gives them education. Like he listens. He listens to what the issues are, and then he finds ways to offer solutions. The business comes back on board, and we keep moving forward. And so it's a it definitely takes a team to be able to continuously go back and have touch points with some of these businesses, because if you're not buying from them regularly, they can just sort of forget about it, or things go flat, like phones, tablets get logged out of accounts, and they will stop accepting. But when we've got a team where we're communicating and we're going and we're following up, listening to people's challenges, finding solutions for them, it's helping that growth. And on another, I'll mention one more. We were walking down, I think it was after conference, down the road, and we'd already had streams of people going down this road. A new sign turned up on a little comida tienda casino, and we were like, "Who put that sign there? It looks like it's been printed by themselves." And sure enough, the owners had taken it upon themselves after seeing the success of putting a sign out the front to print their own sign, get the Blink wallet, and just start accepting Bitcoin. And it was funny because when we went in there to have a meal and then pay, the owner straight away, she knew. She grabbed a cell phone, showed us the Blink wallet, and I didn't even have to ask. And the experience is great. The businesses, sure, there's challenges, but at the same time, there are amazing examples where you just feel so humbled that these people are taking it upon themselves to try something new and really give it an honest go. It's really great.
You, you go ahead, Roman.
No, no, no. Go ahead, because I have another question for Dan, but if it's related to this, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna change subjects after this. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, that's amazing, guys. Like we have been impressed. Every time I have been there twice already, and every time I go, I'm like, good. I like it. I like to see this. But I think for everyone that is here in the space, it would be nice if one of you guys explain what is Berlin? Where is Berlin? What is located in El Salvador, and why a lot of Bitcoiners that why you, James, and Jetrado or other Bitcoiners are moving to Berlin because it's just beautiful. It's like in the mountain, but I don't want to explain it. I want to let you guys explain what is Berlin, what is located, and why is such an amazing, beautiful town.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. Is I wanted you guys to talk about the expats that are moving in and why for a lot of them it's a better place than the beach or the city, and they want to make Berlin home.
Yeah, I'd love to jump in. So it's not necessarily better, it's different. And everybody's got different wants and needs in life. And for us, we got quite hot at the beach. And so the cool mountain air was super refreshing for us. Also, something we came here with one-way tickets with the idea that we were going to get involved in the community. And so when we came up to Berlin, we this is a nice sized town. It's not too big, it's not too small, and we had to integrate. We had to start speaking more Spanish, but the service level was enough. We live slightly on the edge of town, but it's still close enough that we can walk in and out. They've got a great motor taxi public transport system, which is great. Uh, and we still have access to most of the services we need. There's a police station, there's a couple of big schools, there's an Alcaldía, which is like a local government office. But it doesn't have a super selectos. So a super selectos is a sign when a town's getting pretty big. So a lot of the businesses here are small to medium owners. You can talk to the owners or the family or the one employee. And so you build very different relationships with people that own a business that are invested in providing service. So the experience here has been amazing for us to really feel like we're in El Salvador and enjoy the culture that the people have to offer.
And for people that are looking to come to El Salvador or move and are looking at different options, maybe explain the difference you found there. I know you guys lived at the beach at first versus living there, and the difference in the cost of living. I know Berlin is a place where the costs are much lower than they are at the beach. So maybe share just kind of from that perspective, if there's people listening now or when we put it on the YouTube channel that are looking to move to El Salvador, and they can kind of think through if Berlin would be a place for them.
Sure. So the cost of living is cheaper. To rent a house is cheaper, but it's also different. Like at the beach, you get a pool. It's less chance we get a pool up here. But it's we love our pila, which is as a washing tub. We make the most of that. Has a plunge pool on occasion, also to store water when water is challenged up here. So it's just challenges in El Salvador generally, but we don't. None of that deters us. It's part of the beautiful experience that we have here. But the cost of living is definitely cheaper in terms of renting. You may need to figure out a way to get some furniture, but that when you amortize that out over 12 months, it's actually not that bad still. And then things such as meals, that would definitely be one of the biggest expenses that has changed a lot for us. So it's come down at least 50% per meal, which is great. But at the same time, I mean, we still try to eat at home as much as we can, but at the same time, there's this appeal to go out and support the businesses. So yeah, the cost of living in terms of um, renting and food is definitely cheaper here. The downside would probably be transportation. If you do need to, it's not as convenient. So San Miguel, the largest city, that's close. I think it's the second largest in El Salvador. It's still a 50-minute drive, but there's a Costco or slash Price Mart there where you can buy everything in bulk. There's a very convenient Super Selectos and a number of other easy convenience stores as well.
And just to give people a sense of the cost, what's the range for finding a place to rent there if you're looking long term?
Okay, so you can pick it's possible to pick up a three-bedroom house starting at $250 a month, unfurnished. and then you can go up to probably $400 to $500 a month to get you a reasonably good house, possibly furnished for that price or partially furnished for that price. And then your living expenses, electricity, we spend $20 a month, internet on top, depends on your plan, but you can get a pretty good plan for $35 a month. And water is like $2 to $5 a month, which is pretty good. And they're your main expenses other than food. So you could, if you shop around, it's not necessarily easy to find a house. You would definitely need to, I'd suggest that you definitely come up and put time on the ground, walking around, having a look, talking to people. But it's becoming easier to find more places because some of the locals have realized that there's a demand and they're helping friends and family fill those places. And so we've started to see some really interesting things become available recently.
And what's the people in town's general reaction to see foreigners interested in coming and living there in Berlin? I know historically that would have been kind of unheard of, but now there's kind of this trickle of expats moving in. Has that been well received in general, or what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, we feel welcome. I think the best example would be one of the local shop owners, Nikki. Sometimes when she's walking into town on her own, one of the local shop owners will pull up on his motorbike, and at first she's like, what is going on? Who's this weirdo that's pulled up next to me, trying to talk to me through a helmet? She didn't know who it was. When she realized it was the local restaurant owner, Chippy, and he was on his way to basically where she was going, she jumped on the back of the motorbike and had a ride. Uh, just to give you an idea of how much some of the locals have built really awesome relationships with the foreigners that are here. The integration, it's really heartwarming. There's other people, there's other shop owners which are doing similar things. They come to the meetups that we have. So the halving party, we had a number of the locals come and join us, and stuff like that is amazing. I think it's well received. I mean, I guess if you're the honest, it will be happy about it. But overall, generally, much.
Evelyn, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so I just was thinking about, we had a meeting yesterday, the Monday meeting, and we had a panel with some of the locals. And there was this lady who owns the cafe, and she was saying that she really likes to talk to all the people that it's coming to the cafe. She likes to ask questions. She likes to make friends with them. And she was saying that something that I quote, and if it was for us, her and the staff, we wouldn't want for anybody to leave. And sometimes we even cry if they leave. And because she has a daughter, and she's 5, and she's constantly asking for people. She likes to talk to them, and she's only 5. She doesn't speak English, but she's always asking, hey, how can I say this, how can I ask this? And then she's like, oh, I miss this person, I miss this person. And what James was mentioning about Nikki, it's really amazing to see how all the expat community, it's just another Berliner. They are involved. They are not like, I'm not doing that, I'm not going there. They just try to blend with all the community, and it's amazing because they know people by name, and people know the foreigners by name, and they know what they like to eat, they know what they like to do. So it's really awesome. I'm not sure if we can let Vanya jump in, because she has also been part of this team, and I think that she also will be great sharing her experience in Berlin or answering any question.
Vanya, can you raise your hand or request to come up? Okay. Okay, let me try also. Evelyn, I would love to hear you kind of share too about the. Oh, it looks like Bonds is up. So, Evelyn, go ahead and ask her what you wanted her to speak about.
Yeah, no, I just wanted her to share her experience about being a foreigner and coming from a non-Bitcoiner position to become a Bitcoiner in Berlin, and what was her experience with locals that and changing her country, even though she was not a Bitcoiner.
Well, I am one now. Honestly, thank you so much for inviting me to speak. I'm honored. Yes, I was in Berlin for about 8 months, I think, or 7. The community is amazing. When I first got there, they weren't that many of us, but it grew so fast, so much. It was really amazing to see that. And I think, as Evelyn was just pointing out, the main thing in Berlin that helps the community grow is how welcoming the locals are. When you introduce yourself as a foreigner, that introduction as a stranger, and then just exchanging names and trying to explain why you are in their hometown. It's so brief. The next conversation, you feel so welcomed by people, and the other foreigners too. Everyone's so welcoming, and so willing to just cooperate and work towards one goal, which is just the usage of Bitcoin in the town of Berlin, or the city of Berlin. I'm sorry, and I think, man, I miss Berlin so much. I love it so much over there. But I think if there's one place right now in the world with where everything is about Bitcoin in a very healthy way, it's Berlin. And I mean a healthy way because it involves education, it involves a lifestyle, and it involves a community that's actually productive. So it's like very holistic overall. So yeah, my experience in Berlin was life changing. Truth be told, there was not one day where I was not involved in a Bitcoin activity, or when I had a question that didn't receive a very honest, open, and kind answer, whether it was something about Bitcoin or just finance or anything that I was wondering. Every person that I asked the question to, they just have this spirit to help and get other people involved. And I had the chance a little bit to get involved in the community with us in El Sonte, and I talked to some other Bitcoiners in San Salvador, and all of those communities, and even right now in Argentina, all of the communities are very enriching and welcoming and cool. But the unique thing about Berlin is that everywhere you look, there's Bitcoin and someone doing something about it and just getting involved and getting their hands into the activities. And that's the unique thing about Berlin. So yeah, I think. I don't know if you guys have any other questions for me.
Well, that's awesome. I can hear the emotion in your voice when you speak about it. That it really had an
Yeah,
impact on you.
it really did. Many things changed in my life once I got to Berlin, and I'm not going back. I'm staying in Bitcoin, you know, forever now.
Awesome.
It really made the change for me. I made it to Berlin a Fiat girl, and now I'm a Bitcoiner. Just imagine how much it did for me. And it was all, surrounded by a community. It was not. It was very organic. I didn't. Online, you check and read a lot of things, but when you have people, just one-on-one telling you how we need this in the world, it's so convincing, and you get to understand it at a very different level. So yeah, it did it for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to have somebody in the group share about the Bitcoin Center there. I know you guys have been working on a physical location that can kind of host these activities. You guys have put a lot of sweat and muscle into cleaning it up and making it into what it is. So if you could kind of share the idea behind that and what the longer term vision is for the Bitcoin Center that you have there in Berlin.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna start myself, and then maybe James can jump in. I would like just to share the beginning, and James can complement the story. In the beginning, so we were just a group of people trying to do things, and we were meeting anywhere, basically, in a restaurant, in the house, in the backyard of any of the group members, any garage. I remember that we had a garage that it was from one of the guys from the team, and he basically gave us the space to have some meetings, some Bitcoin education there, and so that was the beginning. We were dreaming about having a place where we could invite a lot of people and have these classes, because we were looking, we went to some places in the municipality to look for like a space to give classes, and that's how we were doing it before. So we were dreaming about these. We started to sell canoas, which is a dessert, Salvadorian sweet dessert, and to start raising funds to be able to rent a place. And I remember that the first one that we got was a shared space that in the end it didn't work, and we had to look for another place. But that's how basically we started. We started like really, really small, dreaming about having a center. And then I would like for James to share his experience, because as he also got really involved with all the project in the center.
Thank you. It's a it's a labor of love. I think what blows all of us away as a community is the community spirit, because everything that goes into it is volunteer time, and we've had so many generous donations from so many people around the world, locally. It just blows our mind, and it has enabled us to move quickly and to put together a space that, honestly, if you can take the time out to come and see it, I think you'll be much more impressed than what we can say right now, because it's you walk in, and I think you can feel sorry, I'm getting emotional now. You can feel the love that's gone into it, and then you walk out, uh, and the rooms that we've got, I think the team has really put a lot of thought into what we want to deliver. We've got a classroom, podcast studio, we've got a computer lab, we've got a community workspace area, and these are things out the back with a beautiful central garden that we have now, along with in the front, the first room that you walk in and you're welcomed with. It's just full of technology and examples of how Bitcoin can work seamlessly and impressively. We have the Athena ATM in there. We have the K1 ATM kindly donated by BitRefill. The space is warm, it's bright, it's happy. Uh, it's an experience, and I think that's part of the Bitcoin ethos. It's a philosophy around good things. So the journey to put this together, it's been a space that is to be shared. So please, the best thing that you could do is to come up and actually see it in person and experience it. Spend some time here, not just one day, but try and spend a little bit of time. It'd be a really awesome experience.
Awesome. We'll definitely encourage everybody to get there. I think we can open it up for questions for a little bit, and then to close, I'd just like to hear from a couple of you about how easy it is to live on a Bitcoin standard there in Berlin, and obviously not every business there accepts it, but we'd just like to hear kind of a realistic point of view of what it's like to try to live there on Bitcoin. But first, let's see if there's any questions in the audience. And Paco or Ramon or James, if you see people with questions, please pull them up as speakers.
In the meantime, if my audio is okay, I may briefly add Evelyn mentioned earlier a cafe, an entrepreneur who spoke at the meeting yesterday, 303 Cafe. That was my first meal in Berlin. They're incredibly welcoming. Shout out to Marcella and David, the owners. They've been extremely involved. Just ate there earlier today. That was my first meal. There are so many, but it's over 100 local merchants now. There are so many cool vendors here, so many great restaurants, people who are getting involved. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Nikki and James and the Bitcoin Beach podcast. I first came in October, and I'd first heard about Berlin. The first time I ever heard about this place was on the Bitcoin Beach podcast with Nikki and James episode with you. So that was really cool, and that was very helpful. And then Charlie came down, and I wish you could be here tonight. He's been incredibly involved, but just shout out to Charlie Stevens, the natural investor. It was sort of the 1-2 punch of Nikki and James on the Bitcoin Beach podcast, and then Charlie coming down for the farmers market one weekend back in October that sort of enticed me to come up to check out Berlin myself, and it blew me away. That's why I've been here the past 6 months. And yeah, again, apologies if my audio quality is not good right now, but I just wanted to chime in there to echo those points earlier. And shout out to Vanya as well for contributing to the community center. Nikki has been huge with, this is the third community center now for the Bitcoin Center. And Nikki has really took on a lot of responsibility setting the new one up. It's incredible. And so shout out to her. And yeah, very excited for the future here. And yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Well, would love to hear from one or two of you just what it is to like to live there on a Bitcoin standard, and what percent of your of your purchases you're able to pay with Bitcoin. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to try to pull Darwin up. It looks like he has a request to come up and speak. But if somebody can share just what it's like living there on a Bitcoin standard while we're doing that.
Yeah, I'd love to. We work remotely and we receive our US dollars into Bitcoin, and it's a fantastic service to be able to just start on Bitcoin. So because I'm now in Bitcoin, I want to continue being in Bitcoin, and pretty much everything that we're doing now. So we use BitRefill to basically pay our internet, our electricity, our water here. So we don't have to cash out to fiat there. The moto taxis would be one of the big fiat things that we do. So, but we now have 4 moto taxis that will accept Bitcoin. So that is changing. But you need to basically have 50 cents to ride that. So there's a few transactions there. But most of the restaurants, well, we choose to eat at restaurants that are on Bitcoin standard. So, that accept Bitcoin. So we can eat out comfortably on Bitcoin. We can buy clothes. I get a haircut. We can get keys cut for the house. We had the local locksmith come in the other day. At the local Mercado, it's a little bit more challenging if we want to have a wider variety of vendors. A lot of them still just want cash, and I understand why they want cash. But there is an option to pay with Bitcoin with some of the vendors for your fruit and vegetables. And our rent would be one of the bigger challenges. And that is because our landlord just generally not interested. For them, it's a large sum of money and they really want it as a fiat currency. So other than that, we deliberately won't frequent, we'll go and visit a business that doesn't accept Bitcoin, but it's normally in the means to show support and see if we can get them to be interested in some way, shape, or form. But before I get a haircut, I'll visit the barbers that don't accept Bitcoin and ask them if I can have a haircut for Bitcoin, and then I'll leave and go use my normal barber.
Awesome. All right, Darwin, what's up, brother? You got a question? You're on mute, Darwin. Darwin, can you hear us? Yep. I think Darwin's having some issues getting pulled up. He keeps getting bumped off stage, so Twitter Spaces can be a little glitchy like that. We'll see if we can get him back up there. While we're waiting for that, let's see. Let's try one more time. Let's Darwin, Darwin, Darwin. Can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah, now I
Oh,
can.
okay, there we go.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so first of all, congratulations, Berlin, Bitcoin Berlin, to all the community, all the team that have been working, yeah, together to build that amazing grassroots, I will say, Bitcoin circular economy. And I think that the kind of knowledge that the whole Bitcoin ecosystem is getting, through yeah, Bitcoin circular economies like Bitcoin Berlin is amazing. Yeah, so for sure that all the team is getting, knowledge, is getting experience about how to start up, yeah, new Bitcoin circular economies. So around that, I have like two questions, for example. So yeah, uh, I will start with the, yeah, with the feedback. So what kind of feedback are you getting from the merchant, from the, yeah, about the technology? So how are you addressing or preventing overwhelm them with technicals, like terminology, or yeah, this is, yeah, I mean the or feedback idea that we as builders, should take in consideration to refine or build, yeah, products to help Bitcoin circular economy. So this is one question. And then, so what's next? So my second question is, okay, so you have an infrastructure of about 10, yeah, no, sorry, 100 merchant accepting Bitcoin. So that is the offer. So now let's generate the demand. So if those are the merchants, so how many people, how many users so are using Berlin? How many locals? Or also how to, what's next, or how do you think that as next step we should promote, or somehow bring more people adopt Bitcoin among the locals? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I would like to start with the first question, and then if James can help me out with the other one. Basically, thank you, Darwin, and thank you, everyone. So, but basically, for to address the first question, how do you approach people without overwhelming? That's a really nice question. Because it's the same question that I ask myself. How can I not overwhelm myself with all this knowledge? Because I'm conscious, I'm aware that I don't know everything about Bitcoin because it is so extensive. And so what we try to do when we talk to people, and we realized about these really early in the project, was to bring all the information to the simple word that you can tell to people, like to make all the processes really simple, really user friendly, as we say, so that they can understand. So the the interest to know more will come as people is interacting with Bitcoin. So first we need to understand that not all the Salvadorians have the chance or had the chance before to even do digital transactions. Not everybody has an online account for the bank. And so we need to start moving really slow from the paper to digital transactions, and then to Bitcoin. So, because we will not I mean, I don't think that it will be the right approach to explain people about Bitcoin without them knowing about money, about digital transactions. And so we try to make it simple. We try to make it user friendly, and it's great. So last couple of weeks ago, I was buying pupusas, and the owner, the pupusa lady, she says, she started to ask like a lot of questions. I remember that Gerardo was waiting for me in the cart, and I stayed there for about 40 minutes with this lady just talking about Bitcoin. She had a lot of questions, and she has been selling and accepting Bitcoin for a while. But it is until you start to interacting with Bitcoin, to immerse yourself in the information, that you start to have really awesome questions that you need answers, and either you look them for yourself or you ask questions to people that you think that they will be able to help you. So to me, that will be the answer to the first question. Thankfully, we had a lot of great tools now, as you were mentioning. So there are a lot of tools or technology that it's really friendly with the user, with the final user. And the feedback that we have received, POSs like Bolt cards or NFC payments, everything has been done really smooth, and not everybody's it's taking payments with a POS or with the NFC, but surely but slowly they are getting there. So I would like for James to help with the second question.
Thank you. It's tricky because I don't speak Spanish well, which means that I can't really have a deep, meaningful conversation and really understand a lot of the people's. But one thing that I think that I can observe is that the advantage that we have here is the small to medium business situation. And the reason that that's in our favor and our advantage is that a lot of the current tools out there, such as there's the Blink Wallet and the point of sale system, which and then being able to drop the web interface from things like Tianki on top with the NFC cards, all of this stuff is really easy to roll out on an individual or a small business basis. And because it appears to already be built for that, and it's got a really low setup footprint, technology requirement footprint is really low, it makes it really easy to go into a business and introduce these products. Now, part of the question was also about how much are people really using it. One of the best insights that I might have is peeking into people's wallets while we're making a payment. So on occasion, and this is a bit of a challenge as well, but for example, at the local Uno, which is a gasolina where you buy your fuel for your car, you can see the transactions that they have. And one day we were having a conversation with him, and he's like, "Yeah, we're getting anywhere from like 3 to 5 transactions through the Chivo wallet every day." So when I looked at the transaction list, there were also US dollar payments in there. And what that told me was that there were locals using it. So there are definitely locals in the community that are buying and selling goods and services, but also Bitcoin. Today, I had a young guy come in. Basically, he was like, he had the Moon wallet, but the fee, he wanted to buy $30 of Bitcoin. He wanted Bitcoin. He was going to give me cash, which is awesome. But the fees were going to be $35. I introduced him to the Blink wallet. And one of the things was he was like, I'm too young to have the Chivo wallet. And I'm like, it's okay, we can get you around that. So we got there. But the reason I bring that story in is because it shows me that even though I can't have deep and meaningful conversations about what's actually happening on a technological level or business level with a lot of these places, I'm still exposed to the demand and get insight into some of the actual transactions that are happening through my experiences. So I hope that's helpful information or feedback for you, Darwin.
No, that is awesome. We are so excited about what's happening in Berlin. Obviously, any way the Bitcoin Beach team can support you guys, we're there, but also encourage everybody else out there in the Bitcoin community to donate to the project, to show up and volunteer, maybe show up and check out if that's a place you want to live. I know it's a growing kind of community there, and I'm jealous of you guys when it's sweltering hot here at the beach, and I know it's a lot cooler there. So we're about at the hour. We're trying to keep these things to an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and finish us off. But just thank you guys for everything you're doing, and keep up the amazing work. And we'll try to cycle back in in a couple 6 months and get an update from you guys and do another spaces with you. So Evelyn, do you want to say something?
Thank you. Yes, just really short. I just wanted to say, in the name of all the team of Berlin and in the name of Berlin itself, thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts, because you guys have been amazing. All the Bitcoin community has been really supportive. And thank you, Bitcoin Beach, for all the support you have been. A great support for us. You have been an example, even though in the beginning you were not aware. We were just reading the white paper and following your lead. So thank you for paving the way for what we are doing now, for setting up an example and telling to tell other people that you are welcome here. Either if you wanna donate towards the project, if you wanna donate your time, you're welcome. You will find your place there. Whatever it is that you wanna do, you have a spot within our community. Thank you so much. There's no words to explain how excited, how emotional we are when we realize about all the support that we get from this amazing community. Thank you so much.
Well, awesome. Well, everybody, go out there and keep grinding, keep building, and we'll hopefully see you guys next week as we kind of put the spotlight on another circular Bitcoin economy. Good night, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.